Take it away, Mayhem!
Play the jingle, Morg.
Good evening, ladies and gents, and welcome back to the Football Booth Podcast. My name is Fen, and I'm one of your main hosts. Join alongside me, as always, the one and only. I've got Mayhem. How you doing, mate?
Yeah, mate. I'm all right.
You're all right. It's fair.
Yeah.
It's fair to say, isn't it? Just the two of us this week. We've been spoiled with the presence of Cam. We even had the experience of my old man come on last week. Oh, that was an experience, wasn't it?
I was struggling to understand who was the host. I think he was as well, but no, it was good.
Yeah, sorry to interrupt you, mate. No.
And then some later iterations down the line with some creativity across as we come into the end of the season.
The end is near, isn't it?
You may even make a return.
Who knows? But if he can work out how to use his laptop properly, but like you said, the end is near. Obviously, the championship's wrapped up. Essentially, the Scottish Championship's wrapped up as well. I know there's still games left to play, and that just showed how far Celtic were ahead of the batch. And I mean, this weekend we saw the Glasgow derby, another Glasgow derby. It feels like there's one every fucking fortnight at this rate, and a very conflicting outcome, so to speak. Like you know, the title was wrapped up. There wasn't really anything to play for apart from really bragging rights. But then, if we look back on the past results this past season, that Celtic have come out on top every time. And then, you know, come this past Saturday, where Michael Beale came away with his first victory in a Glasgow derby, and I think there was quite a fair bit of rotation as well, which may have played its part. But did you want to share your thoughts on how the game planned out?
Yeah, look, we leave excuses. We leave, the make believe to the other side of the city. The fact of the matter was, on Saturday, we just weren't good enough. We weren't at it at all. Yes, there was a few people missing, but we knew that coming in. We knew Alistair Johnson wasn't going to make it. He's injured. We knew Cameron Carter-Vickers had his op and wasn't going to make it back. Greg Taylor was on the bench. Kyogo obviously hurt his shoulder at Hearts, so there was no real surprise that O was brought in to the squad. Leo Labada, maybe a wee bit of a surprise inclusion, but has done well in these games previously. So there was a wee bit of rotation. But yeah, you don't. It's difficult to gauge. It was a derby that normally you feel the build up for these. The whole week. You're struggling to really communicate with people. You're trying to get yourself in your zone, and whether you're going out and you're getting yourself ready and you're going out with your pals to watch it, or you're going to the stadium to watch it, or you're watching it indoors and you're going through your pre-game rituals. None of that happened for me this weekend. I was working. I didn't try to get it changed. I was more than happy to work through the game. I watched it on my phone, as much of it as I could bear. Anyway, and yeah, we were poor. And Rangers were by far the better team and deserved to win on the day. And I've no difficulty in saying that. Over 90 minutes on Saturday, they were the better team. It would be lovely to be able to ask one of them, that's fine, I admit that. Now tell me over 38 games
Yeah.
who's better. Ultimately, the fallout from it it'd be a bit embarrassing, and it shows the standards at the south side of Glasgow and what they've become. The fact that their reaction, and we've seen that Raskin on Instagram or whatever is putting up like shushing pictures and all this. was you've beat us. You've achieved the same as St Mirren this season, who also beat us.
Yep, and
Right?
yeah, like you said, it was only your second defeat in the league campaign this season.
You're talking about a game that had zero pressure on it, right? Zero pressure on it, and that's where Rangers thrive. Because every other time when the games mattered, shit the bed and didn't come through. Um, but yeah, look, that's reverting back off of topic. They, obviously they come out firing, and it was always going to be, a hostile atmosphere. It was always going to be, them on the front foot from the get go. And Lundstrom hits a shot from the edge of the box. Hart parries it back out. Cantwell gets onto it and hits it and puts someone up within 4 minutes.
Did he hit the gritty?
No, he just ran into the. I think he just ran into the crowd.
Okay.
Didn't get booked, but never mind. Um, and then we responded quite well. Like, that was probably our best passage of play was from them going one up. The next sort of 10, 15 minutes we were all right. O had a chance to reply instantly, and he kind of dinks it over the boy they had in goal, McCrory, and he hits the post. Should have scored. Lil Abada had a chance. Should have scored. He's kind of in the middle of the goal, 10 yards out, doesn't really connect with it, but should be doing much better. And then from a corner, we get it all wrong, and Suter gets his head in it, and we're two down. And then it's an uphill task. Saying that, coming out into the second half, Matt O'Reilly pinches the ball off of, I think it was Ryan Jack or Raskin, whatever bum it was. And he shifts to his left, goes through. Again, should probably be a bit better. McCrory makes a decent enough save. And then it kind of just petered out. And then obviously Sakala added a third. And that was enough for me. There's been, Andrew's been honest with his assessment, but ultimately, we've seen now these players thrust in the likes of Bernabei, Kobayashi, Ralston, Lil Abada. Oh, this is it. Look, this is where you're marked. Tynecastle and everywhere else you can go and score goals. Ultimately, the games you're going to be merited on as a Celtic player are going to be these games. And Lil Abada, don't get me wrong, has played his part in plenty of good results for us. So not to kind of write him off completely, but didn't have a lot of touches, wasn't really involved, didn't really give the centre backs a hard enough time, although we didn't look after the ball well enough to really build. Bernabei, poor. Ralston, poor. Kobayashi, poor. But then you can probably go through the whole Celtic team and say that, to be honest. So yeah, it was a day that we weren't firing. Was I disappointed? Yes, but that's all it was disappointment. Normally you lose those games, and you know, you just want to sort of lock yourself away and decompress, and it takes a little while to really get back in the swing of things. It wasn't the case, and maybe that's an unpopular opinion. I've seen a lot of people saying that performance in a Glasgow derby isn't acceptable, and Ange has to take a lot of flack, and so does the players, and all that's right. But I can only tell you how I felt. We're champions again with the League Cup in the bag. We're going for a world record 8th domestic treble. We've just bagged our 11th title in 12 seasons. So, yes, Saturday was a bad day, but it takes absolutely no shine off of the season. We dust ourselves down, and we've St Mirren at home here to put things back on track and get back in full party mode, and wrap the season up strong, and going into the last couple of games, we'll have trophy day, and then obviously we look to Cali Thistle in the final. So it was a poor day. Will it paper over cracks for them? Do they think that they're better than what they are? Probably, because they were decent, we were shit. So that's that.
It's such a strange dynamic because this is the calmest I've ever heard you
Yeah,
after a Glasgow derby, and I think
even,
that obviously that does go to show like how dominant Celtic's campaign has been this season.
even in the middle of it, my fiance come in, and she was maybe thought that there was potential eggshells because we were two down, and we were just sort of talking normally. At 3-0, I did have to turn. It was on the TV downstairs. She was watching, so I did have to turn the TV off at 3-0. Like I couldn't quite bear that anymore. But um, yeah, it certainly wasn't. It wasn't like the rest of the derbies this season, and every dog and all that. Every dog has their day, and they have their day in the sun. But ultimately, they'll go away with the "We beat the champions" trophy. Fair play to them. They can
I'm
stick that.
holding it right now.
They can stick that next to their bike in their trophy cabinet, and you know, we look we're looking forward to lifting the league title in a couple of weeks, and then, like I said, back off to the absolute shit pit that is Hampden to go and secure Andrew's first treble, his fifth major trophy in his first two seasons, and start to understand what we need to do, and where we need to go out and potentially strengthen in the summer as we get ready for obviously another Champions League campaign. Why they're bamming up that Todd Campbell's a good player. I mean, TikTok Todd, fair play if you wanna rest all your laurels on that guy because he beats his chest and doesn't let Hattati drink water and all this other fucking shit. But I mean, if ever you're talking about another fucking Joey Barton-esque player, uh, it's there. It's Ryan Kemp vibes all day. They were bamming up that Ryan Kemp was this absolute superstar. Fucker's going to leave on a free and go to Burnley in the summer if he's lucky.
Yeah.
Telling us how Morelos was fantastic, and that fucking Jam Rolls now leaving on a free as well. So, I'm sure the delusion runs deep. They'll think if they go perfect till the end of the season and we go perfect, it was only 10 points and all this kind of carry on, and believe in Michael Beale and all this shit. And we'll see you at the start line next year, boys. That's when it counts. Don't worry about what you're doing. Once we're already champions, we'll see you at the
The
start line next
Rangers
year.
model we're talking.
That's it. It's always the next game. Although they'll probably be saying that was the real Rangers. Um,
Yeah.
and Callum McGregor should have come out and said, we'll see the real Celtic next time," and bound them up a wee bit. But it looked a team that was passive. It looked a team that had already won the league. And sometimes you do get this with when you win the league early and performances dip, that intensity dips because the job's done. Hopefully, Anne just had some stern words, and we turn on the style
Against St
for
Mirren 100%
in the
because, of
next.
course, with the cup final coming up in, what is it now, 2-3 weeks? Not even that.
3 weeks.
And yeah, he certainly will not want to see strong signs of complacency amongst the squad.
Yeah, that's it. With good professionals that they've showed that throughout. Fantastic players, and like I said, we go into this summer window now, and it's clear places where we can strengthen. And we trust Ange to go and deliver those players. He's been near faultless in the market so far. Difficult to have an opinion on. Kobayashi didn't have his best game, and he didn't have his best game at Hearts. But the boys probably collectively played about 5 games, so it's difficult to form an opinion. I think has been decent enough for us. Obviously, he wasn't good at Ibrox, but he scored against Hearts. He's scored the winner against Hibs earlier in the season, which was a big goal at the time. So he's done all right. A lot of people have been saying, I see a lot of people talking about how he's a downgrade on Giakoumakis. I don't think he is, to be honest. I think they're pretty similar. Yes, Giakoumakis scored more goals, but Kyogo was out injured for a sustained period of time, and
Yeah, of course.
and he got his run in. So, um, yeah, I think they're pretty similar, and I think O will be grand. Probably domestically as well. Kyogo really has to kind of go to that next level in Europe for us next season and really kick on. and it's just now a case of, can we keep this side together? Can we keep the nucleus of it together and add a few? And when we always say it, and it's that cliche with Celtic about going and trying to have an impact on a European competition. So we'll see, but yeah, disappointed. Was damn beat, but certainly didn't impact the weekend as a normal derby defeat would. So yeah, look, well done to them. Happy days, good for yous. We'll see you on June the 3rd. We won't see you. You'll see us.
On the big screen.
Play Cali Thistle, and you can watch us lift the third trophy this season that you fucked up. And then we'll see you at the start line next year. Fuck it, you can sing about your great defenders and surrender and all that pesh. But a few. I didn't even want to really go into it too much, but it does struggle is how backwards the UK is, and not just Scotland, because I think Ian Crocker, who was on commentary, says at one point Ibrox is rocking as they're singing "No Pope of Rome." They were saying some atmosphere in here as they were singing the Billy Boys. So, now what chance have you got, really? There's kind of songbooks out.
And isn't really Ian Crocker like down the middle as well when it comes to, because he's always commentating these games as well?
I just think he's no clue. That's the problem. And you've got Andy Walker sitting next to him, the biggest fucking soup drinker that there ever was. Pretending to be obviously he was an ex-Celtic player, but he certainly he wouldn't be welcome at Celtic Park, the soup drinking fucking bastard. So he's sitting there as they go, some atmosphere as they're singing the Billy Boys and No Pope of Rome, and he don't even call it out either. So you can fuck up and fuck off. If you listen, Andy Walker, you can fuck up and all. You fucking ugly soup drinking bastard. That's it, really, and that was post match. You know what I mean? Because like I said, I was sort of in and out, and I wasn't really around for the atmosphere. I turned off by then.
Yeah.
So I only really caught that post match, but that was the only thing that really sort of because if, for instance, if Celtic was singing something disrespectful, or doing something disrespectful, towards someone, with sausage fingers and a lovely bit of jewellery on his head, or her head, depending on the time of year, be everywhere. And it was everywhere. I mean, Celtic was singing "Stick the Coronation Up Your Arse" at the semi-final. It goes viral. Piers Morgan's chatting. Piers, mate, see if there's a football conversation. Maybe sit this one out. Being an Arsenal fan, just calm you down, mate.
Yeah, we've seen your tweets, and some of them haven't aged well, so to speak.
Plus, if you look at the company you keep, Ghislaine Maxwell, Jimmy Savile, just you sit this one out, mate.
Top goal, Ghislaine.
But no, yeah. Overall, I've said it a few times, but I'll be happy when next Saturday comes around and we can get stuck into St Mirren and put this behind us. And that's the beautiful thing about football. One, Celtic just win trophies, which is a beautiful thing. And two, you can kind of, no matter how poor the last result was, you can put it right in a week's time. So, hopefully we go out and look, St Mirren will be a tough test. They've had a fantastic season. Again, achieved the exact same as what Rangers have at this moment. Yes, Rangers will qualify in second place and have a better season than St Mirren. But at this moment, they're level. They've both got the We Beat the Champions trophy, so fair play to St Mirren. And, they can stick that up there and be proud of their moment as well. And with with obviously a chance to go and, even though we've obviously righted that wrong a few times, that we get to go and play them again and put on a performance, put on a show for the home faithful, and play like champions and really shake off the lackadaisical performance that we produced.
Yeah, I have actually heard that there was 3 separate burglaries that took place in Glasgow in the past week. So the 3 footballers that were mentioned, they were footballers that had their house burgled, were Greg Taylor, Callum McGregor and Todd Cantwell. And so what has been reported by the media is that in terms of valuables that were taken, so Greg Taylor and Callum McGregor both had 2 league title medals stolen from their property and their Viaplay Cup medals stolen as well. Todd Cantwell lost a toaster and a kettle.
It's the levels, isn't it?
You know what I mean?
True stories.
True story.
I hope somewhere out there, I don't know why they would be, but I hope somewhere out there there's an innocent Rangers fan sitting listening. And to him, I just want to say, get it right fucking up, you mate. Which will trigger him in all sorts of ways because they beat us on the weekend, so he'll be frothing at the mouth. But get it up, yeah.
Well, someone whom we expected to be with us this week and rattled as he has been in recent episodes is Cam. Unfortunately, he had a good old jolly up in Brighton this past weekend,
and that isn't just us trying to put the boot in on Arsenal early on. He was at a stag do.
He actually was, and Brighton, yeah, okay, like, you know, coming back from North London on that weekend, whether he was caught up in the jubilant celebrations that took place at the Emirates earlier in the day is to be seen, but
who can say?
Who can really say? I think we'll only find out next week when hopefully he is back with us. But once again, Spurs came away with a loss.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. Obviously, I didn't. This is gonna sound like I'm sort of backtracking and being a bit hypocritical, but obviously with the result on Saturday, I didn't watch a lot of football. I've seen a couple of bits from the Spurs game. Most of it was the Harry Kane penalty incident. The Villa fans seem extraordinarily pissed off that Harry Kane hasn't jumped out of the way of Emi Martinez diving in and missing the ball. So the fact that he's then gone into Emi Martinez when he could have jumped over him, but why would he jump over him? Like, I don't understand.
I think Emi Martinez really sets the stage for Kane. Like, I feel when you watch it back, Kane has waited for Martinez to react, and instead of jumping over him, he's going, right, I'm going both feet into Martinez and I'm going down like a sack of shit. And that's exactly what he did.
Yeah, but there is nowhere in the rule book does it say that the striker, if he can, must jump out of the way. The keeper's come flying out, dive for the ball, miss the ball, and then where his body is, Kane's forward motion, whether he's left his legs dangling or not, has took him into the keeper, and he's fouled him. He's took him out. Is it dramatised? Does he dangle leg? Does he go over? Yes, but it isn't his job to get out of the way. It's the defender or the goalkeeper's job to make sure they get the ball with the challenge. That's the risky run.
This is it, yeah.
And if it was down the other end, right, the whole end would have been fucking do-dally for a penalty.
Yeah.
Apparently there was some inconsistency. Like, again, I haven't watched the game. Apparently there was some inconsistencies. Ollie Watkins should apparently have had a penalty in the first half, and it wasn't given. And a lot of people are a little bit pissed off because Harry Kane is well known for this kind of. I want to say, yes, it's half diving, but it's half just intelligent play. You know, he's there first. He can't score. If you're going to be stupid enough to dive in, every player in world football is gonna
see.
Take
this is the thing. Like, it's at an angle where Kane really can't cause any problem whatsoever. He's at such a difficult angle where it's even complicated for him to even like cut it back to a on-running player into the 6-yard box. Like, it's a challenge that Martinez doesn't have to make.
Yeah, just baffling my he's dived down, and look, thankfully for Villa, it doesn't cost them anything, and they get the win, which apparently, again, I didn't watch the game, but from everything I'm hearing and reading, they thoroughly deserved. So, great win for them. Unai Emery continues on the march. Done a fantastic job since taking over, and yeah, it's a real kind of refreshing dust up for that last couple of European places. Villa in the mix, obviously Brighton well in the mix. Tottenham faltering a bit.
Well, Tottenham are now level on points with Villa, and they've both played 36 games. And to sum up Tottenham's performance, especially the first half for Spurs, they failed to register a shot on goal. They had an XG of 0 and 1 touch in the opposition box.
Just Tottenham things, isn't it?
It really is.
Like, just they have no identity. They have no style of play. They're a team devoid of any confidence, no clarity. No single-minded approach. 11 individuals, and you're going to struggle to win football games with that. I'd be surprised if Tottenham took many more points before the end of the season, and you wouldn't be surprised at all with the way that the others are playing if they ended up a season without any European football. And that makes then getting someone in extremely difficult, because you could see this summer they have no European football and they lose Harry Kane.
This is the thing. It's going to be a very difficult product to sell to any top European manager who is, who Daniel Levy is looking for, for someone to take over and steer them back into the direction where, we're familiar with Tottenham being in the Champions League at the most, and competing for the top 6. And right now, and especially if they lose Harry Kane on top of it and don't get Kulusevski in permanently, and then if they do lose hypothetically the likes of Højbjerg, and it's just, I can only see Spurs stagnating from this point onwards, and they aren't going to attract anyone massive.
Yeah, I think that there's been a few names that have been dotted around. Brendan Rodgers has been thrown about. Graham Potter has been mentioned, and that may honestly that may be where they have to level out at.
That's the thing. I think that's where they have to compromise and accept that this is the situation they're in right now. Brendan Rodgers, Graham Potter, absolutely realistic. One's a rat, as you would say, but then there's another manager in Graham Potter who took a big jump from Brighton to Chelsea in terms of club stature and looked to take his reputation to a whole new level, and things didn't work out, unfortunately, for Graham Potter at Chelsea. And I think Tottenham, looking at it on paper, would be a good next destination for him to get that. We talk about his career in previous episodes of how he's really replicated the journeyman persona and has worked his way up through the footballing pyramid. Started off in the outskirts of Sweden with Östersund, went over to the Championship with Swansea, found his way at Brighton, did a fantastic job at Brighton, and then got his big move to Chelsea, and unfortunately ended up in the really strange, bizarre model that Todd Bowley is really trying to put forward. And I know a lot of it does come down to that Chelsea are under a new process in terms of refreshing the squad and getting themselves back up within the top 6 bracket where they have been before previously.
I think we said it, didn't we, when all the chat was there for Potter. Chelsea was an opportunity, Champions League and all that he couldn't turn down.
Yeah,
he was going in. I think they were 3rd at the time when he went in, maybe a bit lower. I'm not sure, but we were saying this could be a wee bit of a poison chalice. The way that Chelsea are. In's come the new owner that's watched too many episodes of Ted Lasso and thinks he can fucking rock up here. Throw a shit ton of money at it, bring this guy in and have instant results. Chelsea, over the last decade, have just known one thing, and that's success. Right? They bring managers in that are ready to win now, and they perform. Whether it's Carlo Ancelotti, Jose Mourinho, Conte, whoever they're bringing in, these guys are hitting the ground running and delivering. So he needed that. He didn't get that. He was never going to get time. But I think honestly, if Potter's got good people, I've mentioned his name, but if he's got good people around him, I don't think Tottenham is too dissimilar from the Chelsea job. Look, he's got far better players and far better options at Chelsea, but in terms of what is the expectation at Tottenham, that you're not going to get masses of time. Daniel Levy's shown that he's not going to give you
I
masses of
think
time.
he would want, he definitely would want reassurances around him that he didn't have at Chelsea.
Yeah, I think Chelsea will open his eyes to just show him the bigger picture of managing one of those big top six, the cliche top six clubs. Obviously, Chelsea struggling and way down the league this season, but you look at the talent they've got, and they've obviously made, I think, a fantastic appointment in Maurizio Pochettino. I think he is a very, very good manager. The job he done at Southampton, the job that he then went on to do at Tottenham. If you think about the kind of position he took Tottenham over in, they were struggling. There will be a little bit of a learning curve for Chelsea, especially the fact that they've maybe got some older defenders at the back. You're thinking of Thiago Silva, you're thinking of Koulibaly.
Mm-hmm.
Are they going to be able to play that high line that Maurizio Pochettino is going to bring in? I don't know. But if you think about the kind of players he has going forward, like Enzo Fernandez, Mudryk, Raheem Sterling, Mason Mount, it's a plethora of talent. If he can get a striker, an out and out striker that's going to, Lukaku's coming back. Who knows? That may be, he may be his guy. May put his arm around him. Maurizio's fantastic at doing that. Putting the arm around and really bringing a player out. That may end up being his guy. But if they can find that focal point, then Chelsea will. I've no doubt that next season Chelsea will be back inside that top six makeup.
Yeah.
Will they come straight back and win the Champions League? Be in the Champions League qualification places? I don't know. I'm thinking of looking at that. City, Arsenal, Newcastle, Liverpool. You would imagine won't be as poor next season. United will get better, and at the moment they obviously occupy a top four spot, and even the likes of Brighton, if they can keep it together. Aston Villa will probably go and spend money. That they've got money there, that they've shown that, and they're willing to invest. So everyone's going to get better, and that's probably the difficulty for Chelsea trying to re-emerge himself up in those top four places, but also for Tottenham as well to try and go and break that mold. The big problem everyone had with the Saudi Arabia owners coming into Newcastle, they can bullshit all they want about the ethics of the country and the humanitarian problems that are there and what that said about Saudi Arabian owners coming. But the truth was the top six didn't want another contender, because here Newcastle are with money to literally burn, and Eddie Howe's done a fantastic job. Got them up into the third. Looks like they're going to get Champions League, and that puts them light years ahead of where they expected to be. And I think we've said it before. Eddie Howe's spent well, but Champions League football next season, it will need a big squad, and the players they can attract with the money they have, they could be. I think they'll take some knocking out of top four next season.
Yeah, like the way Eddie Howe has executed his spending has been fantastic this season, because the last time we saw it with a big club previously was Man City, and it still took them 2 to 3 seasons to get it right. And even with managers as well, where they gave Mark Hughes the boot at the time, the season they brought in Robinho and Nigel de Jong, players like that. I know you still had the likes of Vincent Kompany come through the door, and then he made himself out to be one of the big figures in that title-winning side eventually when they got their recruitment right in Mancini. And this is the thing, just because you've got a war chest in front of you, it's got to be used accordingly. And strengthen key areas as to what the club needs, and then of course with European football coming into play, it's having that depth that's sufficient enough for you to compete not only in Europe but still as well in the league and domestic competitions.
Yeah, and even some, like, you look at, obviously he died off a wee bit, but your boy, like, what's his name, Almiron, you
Miguel
know,
Almiron, yeah, I think he got injured at one point. That's what it was.
Joel Linton, Callum Wilson, these kind of players that they've brung up and brought, was at the club with Steve Bruce players, and he's brung them on miles, like Longstaff in the middle, obviously a local lad, Dan Burn playing left back, which is just the funniest thing. God, they need a
It's
left back.
weird, isn't it?
God, they need a left
Well,
back.
I think he's reinvented Joel Linton as well, because he was brought in originally from Hoffenheim as an out-and-out striker, has been reinvented as a central midfielder, like a bit more advanced, and has absolutely thrived this season. Callum Wilson has been, I wouldn't say he's been completely injury-free, but probably the closest to it this season, and he has responded to that with a good number of goals, and that's played its big part. Of course, there's been Alexander Isak, who came in, like an individual that a lot of like you said, the top 6 clubs certainly missed out on. And again, like, even when he struggled with injury, Callum Wilson, when he's been called upon, has managed to fill that gap perfectly, and it hasn't been a cause for concern, the striking position at Newcastle.
Yeah, I mean, the boys that they have signed, that
Botman's looked
really,
immense this season, yeah.
really, really solid. Obviously, Trippier was brought in the window, so like the January window before, but has been phenomenal from
Nick Pope as well in the sticks, who's been
brilliant. Guimaraes as well, if that's probably not how you say his name, but the Brazilian boy, has been fantastic. And look, they'll have a lot to get off the books. They've still got the likes of Jamal Lascelles and these boys kicking around the club.
Mm-hmm.
Jacob Murphy, like, he has to go. I don't care if he's being played, he has to go. I think probably the likes of Sinetti and Maximan will probably look to move on as well. He doesn't strike me as someone that wants to be rotation off the bench.
I don't see the big deal with Saint Maximin, to be honest. I mean, this is a player that everyone's been raving about. I mean, okay, he's a good guy off the football pitch, and he's funny on social media, but really, as a football player, what does he offer?
I think his feet move faster than his brain, and that's the problem. So he gets into a position and he just makes the wrong decision. I think that the only recruitment I would say that maybe Newcastle have got wrong is Anthony Gordon. I don't know.
Massive misfire.
I don't know if that will work. Obviously, we've seen his temperament. He was obviously integrated back into the squad, and Eddie Howe's given him a second chance. But I don't know. I don't see it. But look, they'll go out, and I'm sure they'll have an idea of who they want to go and get, and I'm sure they'll execute that, because there's really no one outside of their price range. They're playing in what everyone in the world perceives to be the best league in the world, and the Champions League football. The fact that the Champions League changes and they'll get whatever it is, like 6 games now at home, or 6 games all in all, or 8 games or whatever it is now, because it'll be in that league format. Yeah, so the future's bright up there. And look, I know that if Cam was on here, he'd be giving them stick, but I really like Newcastle as a football club, so it'll be interesting. And what also adds a little bit of spice to it is that if, and it's a big if, but if Sunderland were to get through the playoffs, you could potentially have the re-emergence of that derby as well, which always adds a
it'd be very exciting. Yeah, no, exactly. And like Cam said, if Sunderland do get promoted through the playoffs, they've obviously had a better season than Newcastle.
That was the biggest hot take I've ever seen.
Yeah, I know. I know. In fact, it was the topic of conversation with any other person I've spoken to this week as well.
Like, biggest hot take I've ever heard. Like, that was.
He needs to get off that special sauce.
He does.
I tell you what, he certainly would be, up in arms tonight because Liverpool are 3-0 up against Leicester. A brace from Curtis Jones, and Trent Alexander-Arnold has added a third, which is pretty crazy to see. And we saw Southampton seal their fate this weekend. They will be playing in the Championship next season, and at this rate, Leicester are very close to following suit.
It's so close down there, isn't it? Though,
yeah. Looking at it now, obviously we see Big Sam back at the helm at a Premier League club in Leeds United, 4-4-2, pump ball long. Everton still down there, and just slightly now, is Nottingham Forest. They managed to work their way up slowly. I think just where they picked up a point against Chelsea on Saturday, and then a win previously against Southampton.
Yeah, one win can just turn it up, and it can come from anywhere. Obviously, Everton had a massive win away at Brighton, which no one saw coming. Whenever that was through the week or whenever it was, I'm not sure, but no one see that coming. So there probably is a few more twists and turns in it. And Liverpool obviously just trying to keep United honest for fourth spot, but obviously they go over the line against Wolves, which will ease their nerves a little bit. But yeah, it'll be a tasty run-in. Obviously, those two fighting out for fourth it makes it a little bit more spicy. But yeah, the relegation battle is it's going to go all the way down to the final game, and I think Everton play Arsenal, I think, at the Emirates for their last game, if I remember rightly. Which no, it's not. That's not the last game. I think it might be they play them at Goodison. Maybe I'm thinking wrong.
Who, Arsenal?
Everton.
We talking about? What would it be?
Oh no, I don't know where I got that from. They've got Wolves away.
Away.
Bournemouth at home.
Okay.
So they've got to look at Bournemouth at home and fancy it, haven't they? And Bournemouth already safe, and even if they weren't,
it's a great opportunity. I can see them doing it.
Wolves are not, they've been good at home since the new manager's come in, but they're not prolific. So, yeah, I think Everton probably fancy getting a win. Leeds of West Ham away and Tottenham at home. On paper, they look a little bit difficult. Leicester, you're looking at Newcastle away and then West Ham at home. So
I don't fancy them in either of those games.
They're struggling. I think Forest have Arsenal at home and then Crystal Palace away. So, you fancy if Everton can go into the last game with it in their hands, if they can just get through next week and be outside of the drop zone, that they'll feel probably better than the likes of Forest having to go away from home and the fixtures that Leeds and Leicester have got. But it'll be interesting if someone nicks a win somewhere. It can all change. But if I was betting on it, I think the three that are in there now, with the fixtures they have left, would be the three that I would back, especially with the fact that Everton have Bournemouth at home. Goodison is where they're strong. Sean Dyche has certainly implemented that and brought that back to the forefront. And maybe if they'd have made the change a little bit earlier, you look at games at home against the likes of Southampton that they slipped up in, would they be in a better position? Maybe.
Mm-hmm.
But I think, Everton will fight for their lives, Bournemouth safe. I think that'll be a game that they they fancy to go and get the win in. So it'll be interesting. Certainly be something to look at in a couple of weeks. But yeah, I don't see Leicester getting out of it, and I struggle to see Leeds getting out of it as well.
No faith in Big Sam getting them out of the.
It's the games they've got, you know. Yes, I know that Tottenham are in. Tottenham are at dire strengths, and West Ham haven't had a fantastic season. But for Leeds, you're looking at the team that's conceded the most goals, like 71 goals they've conceded, and I think someone like Harry Kane on the final day, potentially his last ever Tottenham game, and you've got a defence that's conceded 71 goals. I just think he'll have a field day. Could easily be like a 4-3 classic, but I can't see them not conceding a few goals to Tottenham. And the same with West Ham. West Ham obviously they've not had a great domestic campaign, but they're in the Conference League semi-final on their day. They're a decent team. The likes of Jared Bowen and that. Declan Rice is a decent player. So when they get it going again, they can be super dangerous, and especially in that transition and counter attack. I think is where's West Ham are really strong. And yeah, it's the defence part. I mean, I look at Leeds and I think, all right, you can maybe see him nicking a goal. I don't know his name, but they've that wee winger on the left that seems to be playing fairly all right for him.
Is it that? Is it what's his name? Sinistera? What his name is?
It might be, man. Not too sure, but they've got decent enough players to maybe nick a goal, but you just have no faith in keeping a clean sheet.
This is the thing, yeah. The defence is very shaky, and you look at the likes of Junior Firpo, who he got sent off over the weekend, but prior to that, I think he's up there with the most yellow cards this season. So again, like just a liability. That Rasmus Christensen at the at right back has been okay, but not outstanding.
I think it's just.
And then you got Liam Cooper and that Pascal Strike. I can't remember. No, because they brought in that where did he come from? Salzburg. That Maximilian Vober. So.
I think that what they're dealing with here is, a lot of people want to lay it on Jesse Marsch, and fair enough, that's fair because he's been in charge for half a season. But they were still recovering from this Bielsa ball.
This is the problem, yeah. It stemmed before that.
Yeah, like you were never going to be able to play that kind of football in the Premiership. You weren't. You were never going to be able to play it up in the Premier League, and obviously Bielsa left, and they've sort of scooted around. Jesse Marsch left. They didn't get who they wanted to get. I think it was
like their sixth choice, wasn't it?
They went for someone. I want to say it was like the Raul Vallecano manager or someone like that. They went for, and he said that he wouldn't leave them in the middle of a season because he was too connected to the club. It could be another. It was definitely a team in Spain, and he was their number one choice, and they didn't get him. And then they've obviously tried to get through the season. Now they've brought in Big Sam, the same way that obviously Palace returned to Roy Hodgson, and he's done fantastic. Roy Hodgson to take that Palace team. I think a lot of people felt that sacking Vieira was a wee bit harsh, but again, sometimes it just shows that sometimes a change is needed, and if you make that change and you make it at the right time, ultimately it can save your season. If you fuck about too long and you don't get someone in and you're picky, like Tottenham and like Leeds have been, it can end up derailing your season, leaving you in a bad way. And Leeds could pay the ultimate penalty. But if there was anyone you wanted in your corner going into these last couple of games to be strong defensively, rigid, and nick something, it's Big Sam, isn't it? He's gonna,
Big Sam, mate, get him in.
He's going to have JJ Okocha on a blower soon if he wants to come out of retirement. Idiger Johnson, come on down, mate. What you doing?
I'll tell you what, going from the bottom end of the table to the tip top, it is crazy to think that we were probably sitting here about 2-3 months ago saying that Arsenal had it in the bag. They were, I think, if I'm correct, they were 8 clear at the time. There you have it. There you have it. Nothing better than Volvic.
Get Volvic sponsor on the shirt next season.
8 clear 2 months ago, and now we're sitting here today where City are in touching distance of retaining the Premier League title. And it seemed like all hope was crushed yesterday when Arsenal suffered which seems to be quite, I mean, it's definitely rare for them this season, a 3-0 loss at home to Brighton.
Yeah, I mean, just before we touch on that, I mean, I'm sure it's been echoing around your friendship group with one of your pals that you obviously have in Kian, but the City team fantastic. It does really put in perspective. You get like some fucking Coventry fan that will comment under a Celtic thing. They'll be like, oh, how hard is it? 1-team league, 2-team league. It's who's the Premier League?
My dad doesn't support Coventry, by the
way.
way.
City have turned the Premier League into just a one horse race. That yes, Liverpool challenge them and nick the odd title. They've won 5 out of 6. They're about to do 3 in a row and match Man United's most dominant spell. I struggle to see anybody, go in and having that consistency over a season. No matter how well they perform, you struggle to see anyone. It seems like City just have these levels, and no matter what anyone does, they can just go up. So if someone goes off and wins and gets up to 99 points or whatever, they'll just go and get 100. It just seems like whatever the other teams are doing, they'll just go and they'll just beat you. And they're a fantastic side.
And the depth they have as well, and they still produce, big stages. And I mean, to have Kevin De Bruyne on the bench, but then for Ilkay Gundogan and they were 2 fantastic goals against Everton as well. Just to note, I mean, a fantastic free kick, and then his first goal, brilliant execution of his body to manage to do. I don't even know what he fucking did, how he pulled that off. To be honest,
yeah, the invention was superb. But yeah, look, City, the dominant force in English football by far, going for another treble, which again would be remarkably good for them to obviously match the United treble in '99, and they've a couple of games to go for it all to fall into place. But fantastic for them. But anyone that has this redundant, oh well, look, we know who's going to win the Scottish Premier League, blah blah blah, but we know who's going to win the English Premier League, mate. So shut your fucking mouth. We also
Farmers League now, yeah.
But we also know who's going to win France, so shut your fucking mouth. We also know who's going to win Germany, so shut your fucking mouth. The only league that's got a wee bit of who's going to win that then is Italy at the moment, and Napoli have done it at a canter. Yeah. Obviously, last year it was.
No one cares. It's match fixing anyway, so.
I mean, just buy your points back. But that's just what money is. Money has separated football in such a way. But yeah, look, Arsenal. I would love Cam to be on here, because I'm sure he'd go mad at this. And obviously look, they're going to be hurting, and they 100% have bottled it. 100%. I take back nothing. The Volvic statement rings true. But for me, Mikel Arteta is manager of the year, and I know that Pep will probably get it, or people will look at maybe Eddie Howe, but for me, Mikel Arteta, manager of the year, to take that Arsenal team, the youngest team, and to have them compete with City up until 2 games to go is a fantastic achievement. Obviously, Champions League football will be back, but we had said it for a long time now, months. It was the character of this team, and it was Gary Neville has been banging on about it, and he's been getting all kinds of hate. But it was the character of the team, it was the experience of the team, it was, do these players, you know, have enough about them to get over the line?
Yep.
Getting into a position is one thing, but actually then going through and getting over the line is a completely different thing. And the answer was no. Losing Saliba was a massive moment for him in the season, having to then deal with Rob Holding. Um, the Xhaka over the last couple of games has kind of reverted to type, getting into stuff at Liverpool, getting into stuff at Newcastle. I know they won the game, but just being distracted and that silliness that
Like the
creeps into the
Xhaka of
game.
old, that sort of creeped
Yeah.
in, didn't it? Yeah.
Martinelli, I think, has been fantastic for him. Saka's gone off the boil a bit. Gabriel Jesus, it'd be a brave man that goes against Pep Guardiola. And do we maybe now he started the season really hot, but do we now maybe understand why Pep see him more as a winger? Because he hasn't really. He's got a lot of tricks. He feints. He moves really well on the ball, but he hasn't really been a vocal point since coming back from his injury.
Yeah.
Um, so do we maybe understand a little bit as to why Pep see him as a winger? Maybe. Um, and yeah, they've just fallen short. Take nothing away from Brighton, they were fantastic. I watched the game for about 70 minutes, and Brighton were, by far over the course of the game. In the first half, Arsenal had a few chances; it was pretty even. But that second half, Brighton were by far the better team, and
Yeah.
thoroughly deserved
And
to.
ultimately killed the game off. I mean, the goals aren't great looking back at them, and I think it just sort of showed that there was a sense of anxiety and lack of urgency in the Arsenal side, where it just felt like reality was slowly starting to kick in, and that, like you said, in regards to Gary Neville, do they have the character to see it out until the end of the season and come out on top against Man City? But ultimately that was not the case. But regardless of all of that, and I completely back you up in terms of Mikel Arteta, it's between him and Eddie Howe for Premier League Manager of the Season. The fact that they've led this league campaign for 10 months.
Yeah, 247
247 nights it was, yeah.
Yeah, they were top of the league. So
And it's been a fantastic season for Arsenal overall.
Yeah, look, they've done put a lot of things right that had been wrong. They've done the double over Tottenham, which is always a big thing for them.
Mm-hmm.
They've competed fantastically well with one of the best sides the Premier League's ever seen, and one of the most dominant forces in this Man City team. I think that they're probably disappointed that they didn't go probably deeper in the likes of the Europa League and maybe the FA Cup. But again, they get knocked out of the FA Cup by Man City. So it's been, ultimately they're going to win nothing, and it's hard to say. It's been a fantastic season.
I think that's the biggest pill they've got to swallow. And I remember we were saying, the stage they got in the Europa League, that we were calling for Arsenal to really just put all their eggs in one basket and focus on the Premier League for the remainder of the season, because European football was going to be pretty much a guarantee for them.
Like the Europa League, for a team like Arsenal, it really shouldn't bother them.
No.
Yes, it's a chance to go deep in a European competition, but ultimately, the actual prize
is a gateway into the group stage of the Champions League. Yeah. That's all it is.
And they're going to get that. But yeah, obviously they got bumped out by Sporting, and that allowed them then to focus. And I think it's just a couple of years too soon for them to in their sort of project. They're ahead of schedule. They've put themselves in this position and relied on really young players, the likes Saka and Martinelli, Odegaard, who I think has dealt with pressure fantastically well. I think he's been by far their player of the season, a true captain.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
He's a wonderful football player to watch. Really, really good player. Um, so the core there. I mean, I don't. I know it's a youngster. I don't know his name, but see the boy that ducks. So it goes over Tierney's head, and then the boy goes down. He holding his ankle because he got like his ankle stood on, and then it just allows the
Oh,
Brighton player
what's his name? Jakub Kivior. The
to
news,
head
the
in.
January signing, yeah.
Fucking put him in the bin. Right? Fucking put him in the bin. Right?
Arteta does make mistakes as well.
Drag him all around North London, bounce his head off of every fucking wall that you can see, and then fuck him in the Thames and leave him there. To duck in that situation is just criminal. It's utterly criminal. Like, there was very little chance that City were going to slip up anyway. You know, they're just on one of these City-esque runs.
Mm-hmm.
But to give up a goal like that, awful.
It was dire. Absolutely dire.
It was reminiscent of Eric Dyer, you're right. It was that shit.
Yeah. And that's it. It was fine margins because Saliba would have been starting there if he wasn't injured.
And he's been fantastic as well. Like, fair play.
I think he's been superb this season. I think, he's been one of the top performers this season.
They've loaned him out and, brought him back and loaned him out again, but ultimately they've transitioned him into the squad fantastically well.
Yeah,
and,
it's paid off, yeah.
Yeah.
This is it. And I mean, now, going into the summer as well, where Arsenal have finished and how well they've done this season, that they will attract higher caliber profiles, and hopefully we'd like to see them go again for next season and really go further than what they have done this season, and see if they could really sort of add to the depth that they will do. Evidently,
you want a competitive team, a competitive season, of course.
Yeah,
so
especially
nice
with Champions League football coming back in.
It'd be nice to see them up there and competing. Hopefully, their fans are a bit more humble the next time they're in that situation, because some Arsenal fans are right fucking horrible to listen to. Like, to round off the Premier League segment here, should we agree on a team of the season? Two games out, titles basically.
Ooh, I like that. Shall we do it?
Yeah.
Let's do it. Right, what formation are we going with to start off with?
I think that the bog standard now is 4-3-3, you know. We can go
4-3-3.
We can go 4-4-2 if you want, but because there has been obviously.
Let's go 4-3-3.
4-3-3. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, in goal, who would you go? We'll do like alternate. So like you say first, and then next I'll say first, and then we all have. Well, if you say someone, I have to say someone different, and then we can debate. Even if you think what you say is correct, we'll put together like a counter argument and then agree on one.
Okay. I've got to really think about this. So, all right, goalkeeper.
Yeah.
Probably for the majority of the first half, I'm going to have to say Ramsdale.
Ramsdale, okay. For me, Nick Pope.
Nick Pope was going to be my next
there was part of me that wanted to say David De Gea because he had the most clean sheets, but I thought that was a stretch.
Get right in the fucking bin. Most clean sheets, my arse. Fuck De Gea.
I both had fantastic seasons. I think Ramsdale's surprised, but I think Nick Pope, whenever I watch him, he just he has those more clutch moments and there's had bigger moments for Newcastle this season.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No. All right. Who should we go with? Who's had more clean sheets out of Ramsdale and Pope?
They're joint, actually.
They're joint. Ooh.
13 each. Alisson's also got 13 as well. Didn't get a mention, so I'm sure anyone from a Liverpool contingency is slating us. Fucking scumbag.
Hey.
Yeah, I'm gonna stick strong. I think Nick Pope has been.
Let's go Nick Pope.
We're going to do right back next.
Let's do right back next, and I think we'll probably be mutual on this one.
Yep. So my right back, staying in the northeast, is Kieran Trippier.
Kieran Trippier.
Yep. Happy enough?
Happy enough.
Yeah, he's been fantastic. Right-sided centre back. Go on, you go first. It's your turn to go first.
I'm gonna put Saliba there.
Yeah. No arguments. I know I said that I would make an argument for someone, but yeah, I think he's been really, really solid. And, yeah, I think he's been very, very good. Left-sided centre back. I think for me, maybe a little bit controversial. He's rotated them a lot, so you maybe sort of pick in between a few. But I think Akanji's been very good for City.
No way, really? Were you thinking of Akanji?
Yeah.
I've been speaking with Kian about Manuel Akanji, and Kian says the same thing. Like, how they got him for as little as 15 million is just probably the steal of the season. Yeah, Manuel Akanji, 100%.
Yeah, he's been fantastic on the ball. You know, and
absolutely. No, he hasn't put a wrong foot in whatsoever this season. And like you said, he has been rotated a lot, as the centre backs do at City. You know, they rotate between Diaz, Stones, Laporte.
Yeah. So then moving on to left back. So you're up left back. Who do you think?
Dan Burn. You saw it coming.
It's,
Left back. Left back's a tough one. Left back.
Do you want me to say who I would?
Go on.
I'm probably going to butcher this guy's name.
Is it the Brighton one?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. That's the only one that came to mind.
Yeah, I think obviously he put had a fantastic performance at the Emirates, but they've also had a fantastic season.
Yeah.
As well. So yeah, I think, and like you said, I don't think there's been too many. I'm sure there'll be again people that think the likes of Zinchenko and Liverpool fans would probably say Robertson,
Robbo, yeah.
fuck that cunt. So there's no one really from anywhere else that I can kind of think deserves it. So then into midfield, then three in midfield.
Three central midfielders.
So are you playing like one deeper, two further forward?
Yeah, let's play one deep and two further forward.
Just because of the way that the midfield's going to structure, he isn't really deeper, but I'm going to say for the first one that would be playing slightly deeper, I'll say Gundogan.
Ooh, interesting. I was going to say Rodri for the deeper one.
I think because Team of the Year, and we're not going to really put it out, I think there's been a lot of good midfielders, and I wouldn't want to leave someone out because technically it's not their position. I think Gundogan's he's had that captain's armband. He's been fantastic, especially towards the back end. And you maybe understand, as I'm thinking about putting this together, you maybe understand why he's there as we move forward.
Well, yeah, let's go Gundogan. And like you said, I think we know who the other two are.
Yeah.
And
so Gundogan's teammate, Kevin De Bruyne.
Yep.
And then Martin Odegaard.
There you go.
Yeah, and that's why I didn't want to leave Gundogan out, but
it was so hard. It was really difficult.
He's never getting in front of those two as the players.
No, he isn't.
No, Pep seems to think so. De Bruyne on the bench, but that's why he's a better manager than me.
How else would you learn?
So right wing.
Maybe one that has gone slightly under the radar, but I think he's been quite a standout performer this season. I'm going to go with Miro Mitoma from Brighton.
Yeah, he has been very good this season. They've performed brilliantly, and if you're talking about like honourable mentions for the midfield, like he hasn't done as much. He's come back from the World Cup, but McAllister and Casado from Brighton as well have
Yeah,
had really good
been
seasons.
massive players, the pair of them.
Um, right wing, the obvious one, obviously, is Saka on it. He was fantastic, was on fire for the first kind of 3 quarters of the season. Um, died away a little bit, and I guess if it was the real team season, he would probably feel hard done by. But fuck him, we'll go for Matoma from Brighton.
Yeah, it's a shame because I would have said Saka as well, but I feel we kind of like fluctuated the number of Arsenal and Man City choices we've got already.
And there'll be a lot of people pissed off.
Yeah, I know, right?
Haven't had a mention. There's going to be a lot of people pissed off.
We're going to have to say honourable mentions, aren't we?
Yeah,
to follow up, just to disclaim.
There's going to be a lot of people pissed off when I say who I want on the left wing as well. I promise you.
Really?
I say a lot of people. 10 people that listen to this podcast.
Right, go on. Name me a left winger.
Well, he isn't the left winger. He can play there. He can do it off the left.
I think I might know because I had this name in my head as well.
Ollie Watkins.
Ollie Watkins. Okay, he can play on the left. You're not wrong. Ollie Watkins. No, because it wasn't going to be Ollie Watkins. They are English, but I know they can play out wide. I don't know if he can actually play on the left or one or the other. He probably does. I was going to say just purely for the numbers that he's managed to achieve this year is Marcus Rashford.
Yeah, I think that's probably the. Again, I think he was in brilliant form for a little while. He was absolutely red hot. Yeah, look, I'm happy to concede Rashford. I think we'll get up top here and have to honourably mention a load of people because there's only one man on there. No one else gonna fucking get in.
Well. Shall we say it on the count of three who our man up top is going to be? Our number 9, our talisman, bagging the goals in. Right, you ready?
Of course.
1, 2, 3. Shea Adams.
Ivan Toney. Shea Adams is a great shirt.
If only Cam was here, you know. Well, I know I'd have to cut something out at this point, that's for sure.
Yeah, fuck's sake. But no, obviously the big man, Erling Haaland, but but that's the problem when you do these kind of when you feel bad for any pundit that's put this together, and you're looking at Harry Kane that's bagged 25 and you can't even put him in your team. But Haaland's just been that good. I mean, there's going to be so many Liverpool fans triggered that we didn't say Mo Salah on the right.
Honourable mention, just to disclaim, honourable mention.
But the fact we said Saka, and you said we didn't even mention him.
We didn't even mention Martinelli for the left wing either. Like,
I know he has been good, but I think you just didn't want it to be a Man City Arsenal team.
That was the thing.
But they have been the two best sides.
And again, striker, you could put Callum Wilson in there if you wanted. Again, honourable mention behind Haaland, remember?
Yeah. Same for like the likes of Botman as well. Like we said, he's been really, really good. But yeah, that was a fun way of how to piss people off.
There we go. Yeah. Let's quickly talk through the playoffs. So, shall we start? Shall we mention the League One playoffs from Friday?
Yeah, that was a joke.
That was hilarious.
I mean, it's got to the point where people are now starting to say that the playoff structure should change, and I've seen a lot of people. Well, I say a lot of people. People have been saying that the playoff structure maybe needs to be looked at. The fact that Sheffield Wednesday accumulated so many points and will have to play another season in League One, and they were kind of saying that like Wednesday should like already be in the final and like
Come on, Wednesday!
Like sixth and fifth should play each other. Then the winners of that should play Barnsley, and then the winners of that should play Wednesday in the final. I don't think that's right. The playoffs are
I
great.
think it's just purely unfortunate. Like, the structure shouldn't change one bit. I mean, I think this topic is purely, come up because of the Notts County situation where they came up short against Wrexham, and like, okay, maybe the structure can change slightly where they allocate another automatic spot for promotion in the National League.
Just make 3 teams go down.
That's it. Yeah, it's pretty straightforward. I'm quite amazed that that's not even the case with the National League, where it's the tier below the Football League.
But Notts County got it done. You know what I mean?
And they did get the job done, even though John Bostock still thinks he's a fucking freestyler in the Tottenham Academy and thinks he can fucking try and Panenka a penalty in the playoff final. Shithouse.
Sheffield Wednesday, on the other hand, they're not going to get the job done. They are basically barring
5-0. They're gonna win 5-0.
Barring some kind of freak miracle, they have absolutely binned their season. What I did find funny was the fact that Sheffield Wednesday was singing to Derby County fans on the last day of the season, staying down, and then one game later, you're also staying down. But,
yeah. Oh no.
Side note for one of the best shithousery moments of the season: Blackburn Rovers fans singing "Forever Blowing Bubbles" at Millwall.
Yeah, I know. I forgot. I can't believe we didn't get to mention that last week.
That was good, but yeah,
it was brilliant. I've got a soft spot for Posh as well. I think obviously everyone's favourite FM YouTuber in Lelujo. Big Kev, like.
Been to London Road a few times as well, and it's an absolute shithole. But yeah, a good family club. They're the peripheral yo-yo team. That's what they do. They go down. They go down.
Yeah.
And I think if they get through this, I mean, I don't think anybody could look past Wednesday. So as long as they don't go and capitulate at Hillsborough, then it'll be interesting. I think Barnsley or Bolton will fancy their chances getting into the final if they get through, and whoever gets through, and Peterborough the same.
Yeah, it was nice to see them in a playoff spectacle, going down to the Reebok.
The league, was watching League 2 as well, because obviously Salford are obviously connected with the Class 92. They were playing against Stockport, which is I think kind of like a kind of
like a derby in a sense. Yeah,
they're quite close
they're
together.
Not far away. Yeah.
Didn't realise that Salford actually played at a shoebox. That's how small their ground is, but fair play to them. The Peninsula Stadium. It could do with falling off the peninsula. It's fucking tiny. Build something else.
Come on, G-Nev, sort it out.
I mean, Nicky Butt doing interviews before the game. Ryan Giggs was in attendance, but we're not talking about that.
Did he have a tag on him?
He probably did, mate. So obviously they won 1-0. Matt Smith played very well from Matty Smith down there.
Is that the Matty Smith?
It is,
fucking 6'7" Matty Smith.
Oh,
Fuck off.
Yeah. So they obviously they go away to Stockport in the week. So it'd be nice to see them go up as well.
I'd be amazed to see Stockport go up as well, because I think that would actually be back-to-back promotions for them, wouldn't it? Yeah. Or have they had one season already?
No, I think they
in League 2.
I think they pipped Notts County last year, and then
back.
But I'd like to see Salford do it. I think the other is like obviously Bradford City and Carlisle. I think.
Bradford Carlisle, yeah.
Is it Bradford City or is it Town?
Bradford City.
I'm getting there is a Bradford Town, I think, but I think they're way down. But obviously they're a big club in their own right as well, big stadium. Obviously that northern sort of in and around that Yorkshire area that's dominated by a lot of clubs. So they'll pull a lot of fans. So it'll be big for them to try and get back up. But I'd like to see Salford go up from there, and they're 1-0 up. So we'll see if they can close it out.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what happened. I didn't watch the Bradford Carlisle one.
I don't even remember that even being on this weekend. Like I knew Salford played, but Bradford Carlisle. That must have been on the Sunday, surely.
Yeah.
It was. Yeah, Bradford won 1-0.
Okay.
So, again, going into the second leg
Obviously,
with a 1-0 advantage.
Barnsley, Bolton, one each as well. So that, they're all tied up going into the second leg. And then we got to the Championship. One
Yeah,
of the most.
and talking of shit grounds as well, that's what Sunderland have got to go to.
I mean, Kenilworth Road away ends in fucking. Even if they were to get promoted, they can expand that stadium because they'd be knocking someone's bedroom through, be fucking taken out a clothesline.
Going through someone's fucking kitchen shed. Stay out of my shed, okay?
And smacking a green bin 34 miles down the road as they try and expand their stadium. But yeah, so love the playoffs. So we'll always watch them, especially the Championship, because obviously how the one of the most profitable games in football, at least. Blah blah blah. And was watching. It was a wee bit strange watching looking at Paddy Roberts, obviously ex Celtic, and
I know.
Was very well liked when he was up here. Diallo as well
Scored a really good goal.
Also very well liked. Not by the Rangers fans so much, but Celtic fans enjoyed watching his compilations of doing fuck all up here. So top boy. Alec Pritchard as well.
Yeah.
Few names floating around. So all right. Luton started really well. 27 players with a headband on. I don't know what the crack is with that. But obviously that high press, and they got the goal, and it looked like they were just going to go on, and then Diallo did pull out a fantastic moment from Pritchard, kind of laid it off in the free kick, bent in the top corner, and that kind of changed the game. Got to half time, and then obviously they come out, and Hume, was it the boy?
Yeah, Hume. Yeah, you got the second.
The winner, and they go to Kenilworth Road. I think on tomorrow night, I think, and they've obviously Luton fans are very renowned for being passionate, even though they're literally in a fucking breakfast bowl. It's that small.
Team bus can't get in because it's been blocked by the fucking bin. Then
it'll be hostile for them, but it'll be interesting to see if they can get it done. And then obviously the other one,
a ball draw between Borough and Coventry at the Riverside.
The Rico.
Was it at the Rico? You sure it wasn't at the Riverside?
Yeah, it was at the Rico, mate, because Middlesbrough's fan were going mental that there was so many empty seats in the away end.
I did not realise.
Yeah, so 0-0, Borough going back to...
Yeah, it was, yeah.
Borough going back to the Riverside. Obviously a really, really strong home record under Michael Carrick at the Riverside, so maybe advantage them, but obviously we see on the final day of the season that Coventry got a draw there, but yeah, had a bet on Borough to win. They fucked me. Chuparak Pom went clean through and managed to miss. So he's only bagged 28 goals this season. Misses today. I put money on him. Fuck him. But Coventry, to be honest, you always get one team in the playoffs. And you think, how the fuck did you get here? And right, they defended all right, and they were a little bit dogged in that, but they are shit.
I just don't know how they managed to... I mean, it's obvious that Victor Gyökeres has had an absolute storming season with them, bagging 25 goals. But the fact that they've managed to get that high up with Simon Moore between the sticks. Once in the books at Cardiff City, like fucking 10 years ago. Guy's got fucking hands made of paper mache. How are they finishing fucking fifth with that cunt in goal?
Fucking 36-year-olds at the back and all sorts. I think Middlesbrough will get the job done at the Riverside. It's a coin toss in the other semi-final. But what I did see is if Sunderland and Middlesbrough both get through, the day of the playoff final, Newcastle play Chelsea away. So that'll mean that on that day, Sunderland, Middlesbrough and Newcastle fans will all be in London. So I bet the Metropolitan Police are buzzing.
These bunch of fucking cunts, Daddy. I really hope that does plan out.
Be interesting, won't it?
Oh, it will be.
But yeah, I still fancy Borough. That they should have. they had a real dominant spell in the first half that they should have capitalised on, and I think at home they'll have enough.
Yeah, I mean, we've said it previously as well, like the job that Michael Carrick has done at Borough since taking over from Chris Wilder early in the season. I mean, to take them from the bottom half of the table up to where they are now has just been a spectacular job from Michael Carrick to get Chuba Akpom scoring left, right and centre, obviously bar Sunday's game.
And playing him a bit further back apparently as well, playing as a number 10 apparently now.
Oh, okay.
But he's obviously...
It's a strange decision, like, despite him scoring... Yeah, being Championship's top goal scorer, but you do you, Michael Carrick. You're the professional, not me.
Yeah, so prediction time. League 2 playoff winners. Who are you going for?
League 2 playoff winners... I think Bradford will do it. I think Bradford will go up.
Yeah, I don't know why. I was thinking Bradford as well. I want Salford. Who do you want to go up? Who would you like to see go up?
Who would I like to see go up? I think just purely to see back-to-back promotions, because it'll be an incredible feat, would be Stockport. And Keane has quite a soft spot for him as well, so it'd be good to see.
I'd want Salford, just because way back when I had a really good FM save with them, so I've always got a little bit of a soft spot. But yeah, I think Bradford will go up. So yeah. League 1, who do you want and who do you think?
Who do I want to go up? Who do I want to go up? I would like to see. I'd like to see Bolton go up, for obvious reasons. Who do I think will go up? Not Sheffield Wednesday. Posh will go up, I reckon.
I would love to have seen Sheffield Wednesday go up. Big club, so that's who I'd want. I'd love to see a great turnaround at Hillsborough. You'd feel bad for the guy that ripped up his ticket in front of his camera and said "fuck them" if they did turn it around. I'd love to see him go up. Big football club. Who do I think will go up? I don't have this feeling that Barnsley will do it. Just one of these nagging, horrible shithole teams. Oakwell's a shithole. I mean, they're right bang in the middle of the likes of Huddersfield and Leeds, and no cunt really goes to their ground. But I just think they'll win it. I don't know why.
I wish my old man was on tonight. He's like, my mate supports Barnsley.
That's...
you know what I mean? He always knows someone, doesn't he?
At least I know one person then.
No, actually, no. Yeah, no, he's a good friend of my old man. So yeah, that's literally the only person I know who's associated with Barnsley. Full stop.
I've seen a lot of Barnsley fans. I say a lot. The 2,000 that turn up to home games when I've been away there before, but don't know any. But I think they'll go up. Championship then. Championship.
Who I'd like to see go up. I'd like to see Borough go up. Who I think will go up. I think Sunderland will go up.
I'd love to see Luton go up, just because imagine Man City turning up to Kenilworth Road. That'd be great.
That's true. Yeah,
having absolutely no idea they have to go under someone's flat and into a back garden to get into the away end. Who do I think?
What's the code to get into the apartment building?
Who do I think? I think Borough. I think they'll do it.
Mayhem, pleasure as always, mate. Thank you for joining me tonight.
No problem, buddy.
Ladies and gents, thank you very much for tuning in. If you are new to the Football Booth podcast, you can check out all episodes on all good audio platforms such as Spotify, Apple Podcasts and Audible. If you'd like to catch the live recordings, head on over to our YouTube channel at the Football Booth. Whilst you're over there, drop a like, subscribe to the channel and ring that bell for notifications. And until next week, ladies and gents, I bid you all good night and Nastar.